As I announced in my unofficial TED Talk, I would do something boring for at least 1 hour every day in June. Now, that month has passed, and in this video, we're gonna talk about the experiment. But first of all, why would you want to do an experiment like this? And that's a qualified question. I didn't enter this experiment because I thought it would be really fun. Quite the contrary, actually. I'm doing this for science. I wanted to see what would happen if I put myself through something I picture as boring for at least 1 hour every day during a period of 1 month. Perhaps an hour, constrained from anything fun, would increase my appreciation for the mundane things that life has to offer. Perhaps it would increase my focus and my patience as a result of doing something reasonably boring and useless every day. Or perhaps I will come up with a lot of great ideas when my mind gets to wander quite freely. I think I entered this experiment very open-mindedly, not knowing what to expect. It all started with me writing down 50 boring things I could conceptualize, and then I got to pick from the buffet every day. I list the activities I ended up doing in the description. At worst, it would be 30 wasted hours. Hours that I would spend scrolling through the newspaper, looking for at least a remotely interesting read, sitting alone at the balcony late on my graduation day, or reading the instruction manual of a project I don't own or care about. At worst, it would be 30 hours of doing that. But this experiment wasn't a waste of time at all. It turned out to be mostly a decent experiment. Or rather, multiple mini-experiments, because I did something new almost every day. You can currently see the ratings on the screen, and the way I would rate the day could heavily depend on the activity I did. Some days, the experiment was so utterly boring, the task felt so mindless that I could hardly get anything out of it. But I'm happy I pushed through those hours in order to eventually get to some more well-spent hours. The days when I would practice stuff, like the Greek alphabet, digits of pi, or playing Minesweeper, mind you, I hadn't played Minesweeper before, actually felt somewhat enjoyable. I wouldn't have done it if it weren't for the experiment. It would, for example, have felt more worthwhile to learn my phone number than 60 digits of pi. However, there were some instructive sessions practicing very random skills, like lightsaber dueling. Other days where I got things done, such as cleaning the basement or tying ties, because I don't untie my ties, also turned out to be worthwhile. If the experiment wouldn't have been there, I'm not sure I would have done those things. One thing is for sure though, I didn't know it would be that difficult to schedule a single hour of doing something I'd rather not do. More than rarely, I would put off that hour until the very end of the day, or even past midnight, which is not the time you want to be dressed in a shirt, tying ties, or trying to stay awake, listening to unusually boring politicians. So what did I achieve through this rather weird experiment? I suspected that this experiment would give me a new perspective on how fun life can be, that I would have strengthened my patience and focus, and that I would have thought of some good ideas throughout the month, since I came up with some of my best ideas when I'm bored. I think I got a little bit of all that. For example, I now have a greater appreciation for the work I do, like creating YouTube videos, which honestly isn't as fun as YouTuber can make it seem like sometimes. But it's a lot better than some of the activities I did during the experiment. But most importantly, I experienced something I already knew. I achieved a sense of understanding how spending time on something daily will stack up in the grand scheme of things. I think that's what the name of the channel, Domino Development, is all about. Continuous incremental development, like a domino effect. A question that I always ask myself after these experiments is if I will continue with it. But this is more of a one-time experiment. It's about stepping down from a very simulated everyday and doing something slightly uncomfortable. That's something we're forced to do every now and then, and perhaps something we should voluntarily be practicing in order to strengthen our resilience. I will try to be mindful about that outside this experiment, but I prefer to spend the time on more meaningful activities, such as reading great literature, creating something artistic, or listening to classical music. As a satisfactory ending to the experiment, and as a bridge to the next experiment, I played a piece of classical music, as far as I can manage that after about an hour of training. For the month of July, I'm listening to classical music every day, and the experience so far has expectedly been great. If you want to see the monthly experiments being announced and follow the process, check out my Instagram at Domino Development. There we can also chat about everything related to personal development. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month, if not earlier. Peace out. That was actually quite fun. I love this.